Can I offer an idea that says, can I redefine it and tell you what I don't think it is? I don't think it's about power. I don't think it's about image. I do not think it's about celebrity. And I do not think it's about the accumulation of wealth. So my redefinition, I'd have to add that it's transitory. What was defined as success in the early days of the Body Shop, which is what I'm mostly here about, was different. It was about earning enough money to live. That was £300 a week. Because Gordon, my husband, had disappeared for 2 years riding a horse across South America. And I said, well, and I never saw business as financial science. And I said, oh my God, I've got these ideas. What can I do? Just take £300 a week. And if at the end of the Saturday I didn't take £300 a week, I remember I had these log baskets in the Body Shop, and I put all the products in them, and I just knocked on doors and tried to sell them because I was obsessed with the £300 a week. Then a decade plus later, it was really defining it as being, hey, how can I be the bravest? I don't want to be the biggest. I want to be brave. I wanted to see if my language of a kinder, gentler way of doing business, which was really just copying what the Quakers had done 2 centuries before, and inculcating that. So it would have been, a few years back, it would have been, had we changed the nature and the purpose of business as more of a social enterprise than a financial enterprise. And now I think it's about being heard. You know, if you're heard, that your opinion matters, and whether it's community or government. So I guess all defined and mushed in together is about, for me, is about the freedom to be spontaneous, and the freedom to do what you think is the right thing. So I define that at this moment. I think I would have slipped my wrists if I'd ever thought would be part of the corporate America or England, and the word brand wasn't floating around when I started in, 30 odd years ago. All I wanted was an honorable enterprise. I never even wanted a business, because for me a business was seen as a small version of a large corporation, and I didn't like hierarchy, and women entrepreneurs hate hierarchy. And they try and tear it apart at every given moment. So no, I never thought it would be, ever thought it would be as big as it was. But I knew in my DNA, whatever I was going to do was going to be iconoclastic and different, and I'd be, putting 2 fingers up at the system, whatever the system was. But no, I would have been fearful if somebody had said to me 30 years ago, Bob, 30 years time, you're going to have 250 shops, you're going to be in 55 markets, you're going to be fighting to go into China, you're going to be about to go into Russia. No way. I mean, because it was fraudulent. Because it was all so easy in many ways. Once I had the loan from the bank, which was a miserable £4,000, which, to this day, bank managers are the worst thing for businesses, because they protect money. They don't have this entrepreneurial ability to have see the idea and the power of an idea. But it would have been too frightening for me, and it wasn't what I was. I was an activist. I'm an activist. It was bringing my social activism into the workplace. That's all I wanted to do, and have fun. If I wasn't having fun, it wasn't worth doing. So I didn't believe that. Female entrepreneurs, there's some things that have changed. One is that there's a title called Female Entrepreneurs. 2, they're great prizes you get for being Entrepreneur of the Year. And 3, yeah, it's about right, but still, I don't think it's gone far enough. You go and you can have a look at this in many ways. You can cut the cake and you see business schools. Very little, even in the most established business schools, have they got any courses on women in management. Women manage in an entirely different way. So, where it's much more instinctive, much more about networking, much more about, feelings about things. And they're still having to, spend 10 times more time with their kids, than the male partner does. It's still harder for women, still as hard for women to raise money for a business enterprise than it is for buying a new car. So that bit hasn't changed. And still bank managers where you go to, and I'm really knocking them at the moment because I really think they should be knocked, are still one of the very few avenues for raising capital for an idea. So I don't think we've got an ideas economy that says, hey, That's a brilliant idea. And I don't think we realize that some of the best ideas are social, are entrepreneurship ideas. And yet women live longer, they're healthier in many ways. They live a decade longer, this is in England. They reinvent themselves, and women's characteristics, I think, not better, but equally important, of those ethics of care and, you know, justice, I think are really interesting for what we need business in the future. And it deems it really stupid that many men will not hire a person just because they're wearing a bra, because they think, oh, they're going to leave and have kids. I know millions of men that leave a business not because they're having kids, but because they just leave it. So I think it's as hard. And I feel finally what's making it harder for people like myself, because we end up being tokens. Oh, Anita Roddick, oh, look at the Body Shop, she did it in it, with no damn help from the government, let me tell you. No help from the system, no help from the you know, the formal networking of the International Chamber of Commerce. It was about grassroots thinking, and it was about finding your place in the community. So I have to say, sadly, I don't think too much has improved.